Outlaw Country by Ghotty. Chapter 8, High Noon. It was the day of the attack. According to prior experience, they would hit us around high noon, 30 minutes from now. They came from the forest, but we had people manning the riverside as well, just in case. I doubted they would be smart enough to flank us, but I also doubted they would be smart enough to throw back grenades. I was armed to the teeth, revolvers by my side, my modified sawed-off in its holster, my new repeater slung on my back. I had enough bullets to take over a country, and so did my compatriots. The wooden wall was reinforced, and the mounted machine guns alongside stashes of explosives. If this didn't cut it, I don't know what would. Edmundo clapped his upper left hand on my shoulder. Beautiful, ain't it? The guns? He sighed, no, the teamwork. Well, I wouldn't call it beautiful, but he had a point. The wall was manned by dozens of armed chagra. Grim determination etched on every single face in sight. You could practically feel the camaraderie in the air. I shrugged. What are you doing up here? I doubt your gun arm is worth a risk. Edmundo waggled his fingers with both of his right hands. Now, I'll be down soon enough. I just wanted to have a chat before the battle. What kind of chat? I just wanted to say thanks, he murmured, somehow embarrassed despite being a grown-ass man. For, well, everything. Frankly, we wouldn't have been able to prepare so well without you. He was silent for a moment, and I don't think he knew the word and what it meant for people like us. As opposed to people like me? He just nodded and took his hand off my shoulder. He turned to the crowd on the wall. Good luck to all of you. Come back alive, he yelled, and that was met with a cheer. He left, and it was silence again. It was a familiar silence, one of the men that knew that the next moments would be the life or death of them. There were people that tried to come to terms with their mortality, but never really do, not even in the end. I would know. I would try my hardest to keep these people alive. They've been good to me. Maybe I would have survived on my own, but I would have been alone again. Pastor was on the wall with me, Jeff in his stables, and the kids were all indoors, despite Diego's and Lilia's arguments to the latter. They wanted to stay on the wall. Diego to quench his bloodlust, and Lilia because dying was something that happened to other people. Maybe she would learn, eventually, the way that everybody else does. Time passed quickly, and before I knew it, it was high noon. The tension was palatable, as every man and woman on the wall grasped their weapons tight in whatever digit they used to hold it. Final wave has initiated. And that was that. The forest filled with noise for an instant, and as if they came out of nothing and nowhere. It took only a moment for the first wave of creatures to swarm out of the forest, dog-like, spider-like, everything in between. Too many to properly categorize, and there was, much like the chagra, too many interchangeable bits and pieces. There was no organized firing line or anybody shouting, "Open fire!" Nope, everybody just unanimously agreed to start shooting. The mounted machine guns did most of the work, shredding through the targets with a speed that even I couldn't match, and the riflemen began firing too, although considerably less effective considering the distance of 500 meters. I aimed my lever action and waited for the proper target. I didn't have long to wait. A larger creature crossed the tree line next, as Mundo dubbed them mutants, although I'm not sure how fitting the term was. They were clearly different from the rest, and bigger, faster, stronger, smarter. There were dozens of them, and there was about to be about 14 less. I shot. My aim was true, blowing straight through the chest of an unarmed variant. At the same time that I struggled with it before, it was dead before it hit the ground. Blast's special blend of ridiculousness, and the recoil would have seriously hurt if it wasn't for my enhanced strength. Rinse and repeat. 400 meters. Bodies fell. The more slipped on the fractured bodies. The gunfire was deafening, but everybody on the wall had earplugs, enough to stop the permanent damage anyway, but not enough to stop the headaches. Rinse and repeat, 300 meters. The machine gunners were starting to kill the mutants as well as the rank and file. Rinse and repeat. At 200 meters, the situation changed. Someone next to me took a projectile through the head, and it looked like the spine from a porcupine, but that didn't matter so much as the fact that they could shoot back. "Incoming! Get down!" yelled Pastor, crouching lower behind the lip of the wall. Most everybody followed suit. I identified the shooter. It was, well, it looked like a porcupine with extra teeth and armor. It would have been funny if it had not just been killing a man. I shot through the eye. And there were more. I shot them as quickly as they popped up, their spines stretching to distort as they launched using physics I don't quite understand and suspect it made no sense anyway. Very few managed to get a shot off before I did. I ran dry. Pastor picked up a slack while I reloaded, and he ran out, and I picked up his. Rinse and repeat. 100 meters. The gunmen began to throw themselves explosives, and that put the biggest dent in them yet. Pieces of monster mixed with blood and dirt flew into the air, the explosions carving wounds into the earth and monsters alike. They were being torn apart, and I wasn't letting them shoot back. A few of the 100 mutants tried to throw them back, but we made some modifications to the explosives. They were duration-based instead of impact, so they just blew up in their hands. I was quite proud of the particular suggestion. Rinse and repeat. 30 meters. Damn near point-blank range. Nobody, not even the worst of us, missed a single shot now. Machine gunners and riflemen held down on their triggers, and the grenadiers are practically dumping barrels of explosives off the wall. Explosions close enough to paint the people atop the wall green with blood. And there were 2 for me to kill all the shooters before they got shot off themselves, so a few more chakra fell. Some wounded, some dead. They didn't reach the wall, and the last one fell just before the gate. Everybody raised their guns towards the tree line, hands shaking, waiting for the next wave. But it never came. Combat over. Assessing performance. Skills gained. Penetrating shot 3. Single action 5. Core progress 90%. High noon came and went, and the chakra cheered. I was in shock, frankly. It went well. We won with minimal casualties, and there was a catch. Where was the punch in the gut? Where everything goes wrong? Where was that sick surprise that fate loves to play? I waited, just standing there for a moment, nothing happening. The corpses were all still corpses. No giant monster emerged from the tree line promising death. My nerves were shot, and I refused to believe that there wasn't a catch. There's always a catch. Passer stamped me on the back, almost knocking me over. "What are you standing around for? Cheer, you son of a bitch, cheer." But I didn't. Pastor started cheering, giving me a concerned look. "What's wrong?" It went too well. Pastor nodded. He knew what I meant. Sometimes it does. "No," I said, "it don't." Final wave concluded. 6-59 communities succeeded. Lower communal barriers. Here it comes, the catch. You are Section 2 of 6. Subjugate or integrate all other sections within 1 year. Edmundo was halfway to us, hands in the air, when he got the message as well. He stopped looking thoughtful. Most of the chakra ignored the message, continuing to celebrate. Pastor and I walked over to him. "What does this mean?" I asked. "It means that we have some diplomacy to do," said Edmundo. I meant the words. "Oh," he said, he told me. I see now. Pastor looked grim. "More enemies?" "Not now. No need to jump to conclusions," said the intricate correct. "That means diplomacy is an option." I knew what diplomacy meant in the same way I knew what decency meant. I interjected, "We should ready ourselves for a fight. Don't be naive." Pastor nodded, agreed. We should set up patrols. Edmundo furrowed his brows and sighed. Tomorrow. I found myself lying awake, staring at the ceiling. I liked it there. But did we really stand a chance against other communities? What's to say there weren't a whole damn city garrisoned with an army? What's to say they don't decide to subjugate the easier way? Well, they would. The only time diplomacy works is when there's violence that's too costly. Edmundo was naive, and he would probably learn his lesson, though I hoped it would be a gentle lesson, like that could be. I thought of Pastor. It was funny to think that people could be so similar. Even across planets and species, there was a common factor: empathy, intelligence, experience. I thought of the kids. Lilia would have to learn her lesson just as her father would. And the only people that get to keep the attitude like that live in a city with thick walls and overflowing pockets. Diego learned, but learned it a bit too young. George was too busy being love-struck to be competent in his mortality, which was, frankly, for the best. I dozed off, thinking of the people I'd come to care about, and I woke up to the sound of gunfire, explosions, and death. The lesson was here, and it wasn't going to be gentle. Wanted Dead or Alive poster on Buck Jones. 0 chips, bronze core. Occupation, vagabond. Stats, body 1.4, speed 3.6, mind 0.9. Skills, quick draw 3, take aim 3, penetrating shot 3. Fan the hammer 1, single action 5, dodge 1, dual wield 2. Traits, Deadeye 5. Unique skills, Outlaw. Outlaw Country can be found hosted on royalroad.com and is written by an author named Ghotty. This has been Scott M. Thanks for listening.